That's what
Yo, okay, sugar.
Either way,
Okay, sugar
happy
free.
birthday,
Thank
Skip.
you very
And how
much.
about we talk a little bit about Tom Brady? I feel like that's appropriate. After the Patriots suffered their second loss of the season, doubters are coming from everywhere. Despite leading the league in pass attempts, Tom Brady ranks 29th in completion percentage. Jared Bell of USA Today says it would be a big mistake to write off Brady and the Patriots after they've proven again and again and again that they are capable of producing wins and rings. Patriots safety Devin McCourty echoed this sentiment, saying that it doesn't matter how you win this time of year. The good teams find ways to win. So, Shannon, do you agree that you shouldn't overlook Tom Brady and the Patriots?
I do. You shouldn't overlook them. They're 10-2. They're probably going to be, at worst case scenario, I believe they'll be the number 2 seed. At worst case, number 1, possibly they could be the number 1 seed if Buffalo, if Baltimore slips up, because they got a tough road, Skip. They still have to go to where they are, Buffalo. I think Buffalo in a couple of weeks. And
now.
This week they still got Cleveland, who beat them early in the year. So their schedule is not getting any easier. But here's the thing: all I'm saying is that this team is not going to the Super Bowl based on riding Tom Brady's arm. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
This team is a defensive-based football team, like that team with 5-time league MVP Peyton Manning. They were a defensive football team, and Peyton could make enough throws in crucial moments to get them over the hump. See, people just are saying now, oh, Brady will show it when it really matters. Like he's choosing to play bad. Like he's choosing to have a 29th in completion percentage. Like he's choosing to have the 19th best QBR. Like he's choosing to have 26th air distance on passes. No, he's not choosing to play bad. He can't help it. He cannot help it. So, but see, what they're basing it on is Skip Bayless. If he wins the Super Bowl, what I tell you, they won the Super Bowl last year. Tell me Tom Brady played good. Tell me he played good. They scored 13 points.
Shannon, he's up against his nemesis, Wade Phillips. He's always had trouble with Wade Phillips' defense.
Who was Barry?
He was the hottest defense in pro football last year at that time.
Who was Barry Bonds' nemesis? It didn't matter. Randy Johnson, Tom Glavine, Greg Maddox, Kurt Schilling. It did not matter. If you're what they say you are, to the fence, over the fence. If Tom Brady is what you said it doesn't matter. Tom Brady shouldn't have a nemesis. He had, at that point in time, Skip, he had 5 Super Bowls. There shouldn't be no nemesis. Remember, he's what is his guru? What's his guru name, Skip? The guy,
Tom House.
No, not Tom House. The one that works with him all the time. The TV
Alex Guerrero.
Alex Guerrero.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Tom, his mind just slows down, and everything is at a standstill. So Tom Brady's mind should be at a standstill. He should have known where the guys were coming from when he threw that pick on the opening series in the Super Bowl. Skip, he had a 27 QBR. I'm not saying Tom Brady can't make throws, because he can, and he might put together a drive or two. But this team is not going to go to the Super Bowl based on Tom Brady's arm. You know that. Everybody else knows that. But we don't want our heroes. We hate our heroes to die slow, painful death.
I point out to all of our faithful viewers out there that Shannon Sharpe has been making this speech for 3 years on this show. We're into our 4th year on this show, and he's still making the speech, trying to triple down on it, quadruple down on it. And you've been wrong every time, and you're going to be wrong again this year. And that's what Jared Bell, our friend from USA Today, was writing about. You just can't write him off, and you can't write them off. And I give you both Belichick and Brady, but you can't write them off. You will not find, I'm going to address your Barry Bonds analogy. You will not find a bigger Barry Bonds fan than I am. But I covered Barry Bonds in the Bay Area, so I know it inside and out. Barry Bonds was a postseason disappointment because he couldn't lift and carry a team by virtue of he wasn't a pitcher. He couldn't lift them to World Series. They got to one and they lost it, and I heap most of the blame on Dusty Baker for pulling a pitcher. It's a long story in the 7th inning.
But Browns without his mind in that series
He had a huge series, but I covered other playoffs when he was not out of his mind. So when
Especially
you say, if you're that man, you do that. Well, he didn't do that enough in the postseason. In the he's simply the greatest hitter I ever saw. you can make a case he was the greatest overall player, especially in his prime when he was winning 8 straight Gold Gloves.
Correct.
Didn't have much of an arm, never, but it was an accurate arm, and it was reasonable, it was decent.
Played
it was
shallow left field,
functional,
and he get you.
yeah, and he could run and he could steal bases in his prime until he got big.
Yes.
When he got big, he wasn't that guy anymore, but it didn't really matter because no one has ever had a year like he had in the 73 home run.
We had a couple of years like that, Skip.
But he was obliterating Babe Ruth's record for on-base
OPS slugging, yes.
It was unbelievable. But now back to Tom Brady. I'm not going to write them off, but I will tell you, I am concerned because this is the first time I've ever said, gee, I'm not sure even Tom Brady can turn this offense around because I don't see a fix here. I don't see how somebody's underperforming who will suddenly figure it out.
Switch.
It's either Julian Edelman or bust, James White or bust. And again, you look at the catches. Julian's caught 82. James White is second on the list at 57 of the Patriot receivers. You have to go all the way down to Dorsett at 28 to get to the next wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's just not enough firepower.
Discrepancy.
Okay? Like it's so out of balance. And by the way, Julian Edelman is no spring chicken, right?
Right.
He's getting up there in years and hits that he's taken, and he takes a bunch of hits, man.
Right. But Skip, he can play that position because he doesn't have that end line, but he still got that start quickness. And it works really well.
He better have it.
And he has a wavelength with Tom Brady that's second to none.
So he's got 54 more catches than the next wide receiver. And I told you earlier, the tight ends as a group, the 3 of them, they've caught 26 total balls. That's dead last in the NFL. They've caught 1 touchdown. That's dead last in the NFL for a tight end position.
Well, Skip, the thing is that once Gronk went away, they didn't have they don't have a guy that that can just take the game over. Gronk is a guy that can take the game over. He can dominate. You have to find a way. Says, okay, who's going to beat us other than Gronk? Because I'm taking Gronk away. What I think now you need to go into a game says, I'm going to take Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman will be first, and then I'm going to do what I can on James White. But I am not going to let Julian Edelman keep moving the chains on me. Because, Skip, he's not a big touchdown maker. He's not a guy that's going to end up with 12, 13 touchdowns. Most slot receivers don't. Every once in a while, you get a slot receiver like a Brandon Stokely, have 10 or 11, or Wes Welker have 10 or 11. But for the most part, those guys are chain movers. They're going to be high on the third down as far as grabbing first downs, but not touchdowns.
Twice the other night, Tom Brady tried to go Julian Edelman deep on double coverage.
Yes.
How many times have you seen Julian run under a 60-yard pass?
Right. Especially, Skip, he's a 5'10"?
Yeah.
5'10" guy in the double coverage. That's what you do for Megatron or Julio, guys that have great leaping ability.
Okay, so they have a potential Megatron. This is like just potential only. I'm not saying he's ever going to be close, but they got N'Keal Harry in the first round from Arizona State.
Right.
Been hurt all year. He played his 3rd game on Sunday night. Tom threw him 1 ball and then, I think, just doghoused him and said, that's enough of that because he didn't come hard enough for it or fight hard enough for it. So he's caught now 4 total balls for 28 total yards. That's the only X factor where I'd say if he could figure it out and they could get on a wavelength, maybe that would help. I misspoke earlier. I said they were 24th in rushing. They're 21st, which isn't much better.
Okay.
But Tom has not had the running attack he had in the postseason to take some focus and pressure off the passing game.
I don't think they were this bad running the football last year. Now, they weren't what they were in the postseason, Skip, granted. But see, the thing was, you get so concerned about his ability to throw the football that you play them with nickel or dime defense, and then they run you off the field.
Romeo played 6 DBs most of the game.
Dime.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
6 DBs and you can't run it?
Because I don't respect James White running the football, Michelle, Burkhead.
And why Sonny Michel got doghouse the other night.
Yes.
They took him out the whole second half. They were running the ball with James White.
It's going to make life very difficult for Tom Brady, Skip. If they can play you in dime, which is 6 DBs, and you can't run the ball on them, it's going to be tough sledding. It's going to be tough sledding.
Now you can double both the 2 guys. You can double James and Julian.
And because you're not really worried, you play a lot of cover 5 because you're not really worried about Tom Brady going in with Skip.
Nope.
Think about how clear the side was for him to get 17 yards. Now, if that's Lamar Jackson or Deshaun, Skip, they might get 50 yards on that play. But you're not going to play that coverage because you're not worried about Tom going anywhere.
Okay, so I know Kansas City isn't a whole lot better on defense, but they do have Steve Spagnuolo.
Okay.
And he was the kryptonite for Tom Brady in that 07 Super Bowl. And he does have some blueprint in his head, as Wade Phillips did, for this is how I can maybe not stop him, but bother him. I can bother him.
But Skip, see, what he doesn't have that they had, when they went to their jet package, they kicked Tuck inside.
They did.
And they put it with Canty. They had OC on one side and they had Stray on the other.
That'll do it.
And they says, look, they got to double team somebody. Whoever gets the single, you got to get home.
Yep.
And that's what they did.
He does not have that.